Most English learners think the real test is grammar.
Exactly. People spend years memorizing tenses, vocabulary lists, irregular verbs, and all those tiny grammar rules.
But the truth is, grammar is not the real test.
Wait, really?
Really. Because you can know hundreds of grammar rules and still freeze the moment someone asks you a simple question like, "So, what do you do for work?"
Oh, wow. That is painfully true. I think almost every English learner has experienced that moment. You study for months, maybe even years, and then someone speaks to you in real life, and suddenly your brain becomes completely empty.
And that is exactly what we are talking about today. The real English test most learners avoid is not the grammar test, not the vocabulary quiz, not the exam at school.
It is conversation.
Real conversation, unexpected conversation, fast conversation, messy conversation.
The kind where you cannot pause for 5 minutes and translate every sentence in your head.
The kind where you cannot secretly open Google Translate under the table.
The kind where someone asks you a question and your heart starts beating faster because now you have to answer in real time.
And if you have ever felt that panic, first of all, you are not alone.
Not at all. In fact, if you are watching this right now and you have ever avoided speaking English because you were afraid of making mistakes, comment "I relate" below, because you are definitely not the only one.
And here's the surprising part. Most learners do not fail because they are bad at English.
They fail because they avoid the one thing that actually trains them for real life.
Exactly. Imagine someone who wants to learn swimming.
But instead of getting into the water, they only read books about swimming.
They watch videos about swimming.
They memorize the names of swimming techniques.
They even buy expensive swimming clothes.
But they never actually enter the pool.
That sounds ridiculous, right?
But that is exactly what so many English learners do.
They stay in the safe zone. They watch lessons, they write notes, they memorize words, they feel productive.
But deep down, they know they are avoiding the hardest part.
The moment when English becomes real.
And honestly, that moment can be scary.
Very scary.
Because when you speak English with a real person, you cannot control everything. You don't know what they will say. You don't know what question is coming next.
You might not understand every word.
You might make mistakes.
You probably will make mistakes.
And that is exactly why so many people avoid it.
But here is the big idea for today. The thing you avoid is often the exact thing you need most.
That is powerful.
Think about it. If speaking English makes you nervous, that nervous feeling is actually showing you where your growth needs to happen.
So instead of running away from that fear, you need to move toward it.
Slowly, step by step.
Because the only way to become comfortable speaking English is to actually speak English.
And today, we are going to break down why learners avoid real conversation, what they are secretly afraid of, and how you can train yourself to pass the real English test.
We are also going to talk about the biggest mistake learners make when practicing English.
And later, I want to share a story about one learner who knew English for 8 years, but still could not hold a simple conversation.
And what finally changed everything for him was surprisingly simple.
So stay with us, because by the end of this episode, you may completely change the way you think about learning English.
And if you're serious about improving your English in a way that actually works in real life, make sure you subscribe to Talk Easy Daily, because we are here to help you speak with confidence, not just study forever. Let us start with something important. Most learners think speaking problems come from a lack of knowledge. Like, I need more vocabulary, or I need to learn more grammar first.
Exactly. And sometimes that is true, but very often the real problem is not knowledge, it's fear.
Fear of sounding stupid.
Fear of making mistakes.
Fear of forgetting words.
Fear of people judging your accent.
Fear of embarrassing yourself.
And these fears are so strong that many learners create a habit of avoiding real conversation completely.
They tell themselves things like, I will start speaking when my English is better.
But the problem is, your English becomes better by speaking.
Not before speaking.
Exactly. It's like saying, I will go to the gym after I become stronger.
That makes no sense.
But that's how a lot of people approach English. They wait for confidence before they take action.
When actually, confidence comes after action.
That's such an important point. Confidence is not something you magically feel one day.
It's something you build.
Through repetition.
Through awkward moments.
Through mistakes.
Through speaking badly before you speak well.
Let me give you an example. Imagine 2 learners.
Okay.
Learner number 1 studies grammar for 3 years but almost never speaks.
Sounds familiar.
Learner number 2 studies less grammar but speaks English for 10 minutes every day, even if they make mistakes.
I already know where this is going.
After 1 year, learner number 2 is usually much more comfortable in real conversations.
Because they trained for the real situation.
Exactly. They trained their brain to respond in English.
That's the key. Because conversation is not only about knowing words, it's about being able to access those words quickly.
Yes, real conversation is fast. Your brain has to listen, understand, think, and answer almost instantly.
Which is very different from sitting alone with a notebook.
Completely different.
And I think this is why so many learners get shocked when they finally try speaking.
Because in their mind they think, I study this, I know this, why can't I say it?
But the knowledge is trapped.
Exactly. It's passive knowledge, not active knowledge.
Can you explain that?
Of course. Passive knowledge means you can recognize something when you see it or hear it.
Like when you watch a movie and understand a sentence.
Right. Or when you read an English article and think, oh yes, I know this word.
But active knowledge is different.
Very different. Active knowledge means you can produce the word yourself at the right moment.
Without translating for 5 minutes.
Without panic.
With your mind suddenly becoming blank.
And the only way to turn passive English into active English is through use.
Repetition.
Practice.
Real speaking.
Here's a quick challenge for everyone watching. Can you explain what you did yesterday in English for 1 full minute without stopping?
That sounds easy until you actually try it.
Exactly. Many people can understand English very well, but when they try to speak for even 60 seconds, they struggle.
And if that happens to you, do not feel bad.
Not at all. It simply means you need more speaking practice, not more self-criticism.
That's such an important difference.
Because many learners become their own worst enemy.
They say things like, my English is terrible, or I sound stupid.
And every mistake becomes proof that they are failing.
But mistakes are not proof of failure.
They are proof that you are trying.
And if you never make mistakes, you're probably staying inside your comfort zone.
Exactly. Think about children learning their first language.
They make mistakes constantly.
Huge mistakes.
Funny mistakes.
Sometimes they say completely incorrect things.
But nobody expects perfection from them.
And because they aren't afraid of mistakes, they keep speaking.
Which means they improve faster.
Now imagine if a child said, I will not speak until my grammar is perfect.
That child would never learn to speak.
Exactly. So why do adults do this to themselves?
Because adults want to protect themselves from embarrassment.
But embarrassment is temporary.
Regret lasts longer.
That is powerful.
Because years later, many learners regret all the opportunities they avoided.
The job interview they couldn't do in English.
The trip where they stayed quiet.
The conversation they wanted to have.
The new friends they never made.
All because they were waiting to feel ready.
But maybe ready is not a feeling.
Maybe ready is a decision.
Wow.
You decide to start before you feel comfortable.
You decide that making mistakes is better than saying nothing.
You decide that progress matters more than perfection.
And honestly, this changes everything.
Let us talk about another reason learners avoid speaking.
Comparison.
Yes, comparison is dangerous.
Especially now, because every day you see videos of people speaking perfect English online.
You see smooth accents, perfect grammar, fast responses.
And then you compare your beginning to someone else's final result.
Which is very unfair.
Because you don't see how many mistakes that person made before they became fluent.
You don't see the years of awkward conversations.
The embarrassing moments.
The confusion.
The fear.
You only see the final version.
And that makes people think they're behind.
But everyone learns at a different speed.
Some people improve fast because they speak every day.
Some improve slowly because they are afraid to practice.
Some have more free time.
Some have better opportunities.
But none of that means you can't improve too.
Exactly. The only comparison that matters is who you were 6 months ago.
Are you more confident now than before?
Do you understand more than before?
Can you speak a little longer than before?
If the answer is yes, then you are already winning.
And maybe you are improving more than you realize.
Here's a myth that hurts a lot of learners.
What is it?
If I make mistakes, people will judge me.
Oh yes, that fear is huge.
But in reality, most people are much more patient than you think.
Especially if they see that you are trying.
Exactly. Most people respect effort.
And honestly, if someone laughs at you for making a mistake in another language, that says more about them than about you.
Absolutely.
Also, let's be honest, native speakers make mistakes too.
All the time.
They forget words.
They say the wrong thing.
They correct themselves.
They use bad grammar in everyday conversation.
Real English is not perfect English.
That's such an important point.
Because many learners think fluency means speaking without mistakes.
But real fluency means you can keep going even when mistakes happen.
You don't stop.
You don't panic.
You communicate anyway.
And that's the skill you need to build.
So if you are watching this and you've been avoiding conversation because you're waiting to become perfect, maybe this is your sign to stop waiting.
Because your English life changes when you stop asking, what if I make mistakes?
And start asking, what if this conversation helps me improve?
And in the next part, we are going to talk about the biggest speaking mistake that almost every learner makes without realizing it.
Plus, we are going to share a simple daily exercise that can completely change your speaking confidence if you do it consistently.
And trust me, it's much easier than you think.
So stay with us. The next part might be exactly what you need to finally stop avoiding the real English test.
The biggest speaking mistake most learners make is surprisingly simple. They try to speak perfectly.
Exactly.
They want every sentence to be correct,
Every word perfect.
every grammar rule accurate.
Every pronunciation flawless.
And because of that, they speak very slowly,
Or they do not speak at all.
because they are constantly checking themselves in their head.
They start a sentence,
Then stop.
then change the grammar,
Then search for a better word.
then panic.
And by the time they are ready to answer, the conversation has already moved on.
This is what I call mental traffic.
That is such a good description.
Because your brain becomes crowded. You are trying to drive forward, but too many thoughts are blocking the road.
Is this the right tense?
Should I say have been or had been?
What if my pronunciation is wrong?
Maybe I should choose a more advanced word.
And suddenly something simple becomes stressful.
Exactly. But here's the truth. In real conversation, communication matters more than perfection.
So if people understand you, that is already a success.
Absolutely. Think about this. If someone says, yesterday I go market and buy fruit, is that sentence perfect?
No,
But do you understand it?
completely.
And that is the point. Perfect English is not necessary for communication.
Of course, improving grammar is important.
Yes, but communication comes first.
Because if you spend too much time trying to sound perfect, you'll never sound natural.
Natural speaking is a little messy.
Real conversations are not clean and perfect.
People pause.
They repeat themselves.
They forget words.
They use simple language.
They say things like, you know?
Wait, what is the word?
How do I explain this?
And that is normal.
Very normal.
So maybe one of the best things you can do is give yourself permission to sound imperfect.
That is powerful.
Because once you stop trying to sound perfect, you actually become more relaxed.
And relaxed people speak better.
They think faster.
They respond more naturally.
They enjoy the conversation more.
Here's a quick tip. Instead of asking yourself, how can I sound perfect? Ask yourself, how can I keep the conversation moving?
That changes everything.
Because conversation is not an exam.
It is a connection.
Exactly.
And when you focus on connection instead of perfection, speaking becomes much easier.
Let me give you an example. Imagine someone asks you, what did you do this weekend?
A lot of learners immediately panic because they want to create a perfect answer.
But the goal is not to create a perfect answer.
The goal is to respond.
Even a simple answer is fine.
I stayed home, watched a movie, and relaxed.
That is enough.
You do not need a complicated sentence with advanced vocabulary and perfect grammar.
Simple English spoken confidently is much more powerful than advanced English spoken nervously.
That is such a good sentence.
And honestly, many learners underestimate how powerful simple English can be.
Because they think fluency means using difficult words.
But fluent speakers often use very simple words.
They are just fast, clear, and confident.
Exactly. Think about daily conversations. Most people are not discussing philosophy or science every day.
They are talking about work, family, food, movies, stress, plans, weather, and life.
Which means you don't need thousands of difficult words to have a good conversation.
You need confidence with the words you already know.
That's why one of the best exercises for speaking is something very simple.
What is it?
Talk to yourself in English for 5 minutes every day.
That sounds almost too easy.
But it works.
Why?
Because it trains your brain to create English without pressure.
You don't have to impress anyone.
Nobody is judging you.
Nobody is waiting for your answer.
You can speak slowly.
You can repeat yourself.
You can make mistakes.
And over time, you become faster and more comfortable.
For example, every morning you can ask yourself simple questions.
Like, what am I doing today?
What did I eat yesterday?
What am I worried about?
What do I want to do this weekend?
What movie did I watch recently?
These are simple topics, but they are powerful because they train real-life speaking.
And the best part is that you can do this anywhere.
In your room,
In the shower,
while driving,
while walking,
while cooking.
even while brushing your teeth.
Exactly. Small moments become speaking practice.
And here is something important. Don't wait until you have 1 full hour of free time.
Because many people never find that hour.
Instead, use small pockets of time.
5 minutes here,
10 minutes there.
those small moments add up.
Imagine speaking English for just 10 minutes every day.
That is more than 60 hours in 1 year.
Wow! And that kind of repetition changes your brain. Because speaking becomes more normal,
Less scary,
less awkward.
more automatic.
Here's another great exercise. Record yourself speaking.
Yes, that can feel uncomfortable at first.
Very uncomfortable,
Most people hate hearing their own voice,
especially in another language,
but recording yourself is one of the fastest ways to improve.
because you hear your real speaking habits.
You notice where you pause too much.
You notice words you repeat again and again.
You notice pronunciation problems.
And over time, you can hear your progress.
That is important because many learners think they are not improving.
But when they listen to an old recording from 6 months ago, they realize they have changed a lot.
That is such a motivating feeling.
It really is.
Let us do a quick reality check. If you only study English but never speak it, what happens?
You become very good at understanding English.
But not necessarily using English.
Exactly.
It is like learning how to play football by watching videos.
You understand the game, but you still cannot play well until you actually practice.
And speaking is a physical skill too,
That is interesting.
because speaking involves your mouth, your tongue, your breathing, your rhythm, your confidence.
So your body also needs practice, not just your brain.
Exactly. The more you speak, the more natural those movements become,
That's why speaking feels so hard at first.
because your mouth is not used to making those sounds yet.
But the more you repeat them, the easier it becomes.
Here's a myth versus reality moment.
I love these.
Myth. You need to think in perfect English before you start speaking.
Reality, you start speaking badly and slowly your English becomes better.
Myth. Fluent speakers never make mistakes.
Reality, fluent speakers keep speaking even when mistakes happen.
Myth. You need advanced vocabulary to sound intelligent.
Reality, clear, simple English is often more powerful.
And if you're enjoying this conversation so far, take a second to like this video because it really helps Talk Easy Daily reach more English learners around the world.
And tell us in the comments, what is your biggest fear when speaking English?
Is it pronunciation?
Forgetting words?
Grammar mistakes?
Speaking too slowly?
We would love to know because chances are other learners feel exactly the same way.
And in the next part, we are going to talk about something really important,
The hidden habits that secretly destroy speaking confidence,
including one habit that almost every learner thinks is helping them.
but is actually making them worse.
And once you realize it, you may never practice English the same way again.
One of the biggest hidden habits that destroy speaking confidence is silent studying.
Silent studying?
Yes, reading English quietly, watching videos quietly, listening quietly, learning quietly.
Without ever opening your mouth?
Exactly. Many learners spend years around English, but not actually using English.
That is such a big difference.
Because understanding English and producing English are two completely different skills.
It is like watching cooking videos every day, but never entering the kitchen.
Exactly. You know the recipes, you know the ingredients, but when it is finally time to cook, you have no real experience.
And that is what happens in English too.
Many learners become excellent at consuming English.
They can watch YouTube videos,
Read books,
understand movies,
follow podcasts,
but when someone asks them a direct question, they freeze.
because their English has been passive for too long.
This is why shadowing is such a powerful habit.
Yes, shadowing is one of the best ways to build speaking confidence.
For people who don't know, shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately.
Exactly. You listen to a sentence, then copy the rhythm, the pronunciation, the emotion, and the speed.
Almost like acting.
Yes, and it trains your mouth to feel comfortable with English sounds.
It also helps you sound more natural.
Very natural, because when you only study from books, your English can become too formal or unnatural.
Like when learners say things that are technically correct but sound strange in real life.
Exactly. For example, imagine someone asks, "Are you hungry?"
And you answer, no, I have consumed sufficient nourishment.
Technically correct.
But very weird.
Very weird.
Real English is usually much simpler.
Much simpler. Native speakers often use short, direct phrases.
I'm full.
I'm tired.
I'm not sure.
I'm thinking about it.
And shadowing helps you absorb these natural patterns.
Here's a simple way to do it. Choose a short clip from a podcast, movie, interview, or YouTube video.
Something around 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Listen to one sentence.
Pause it.
Repeat it exactly.
Then do the next sentence.
Pay attention to how the speaker joins words together.
Because native speakers do not speak one word at a time.
They connect sounds.
Like, what are you doing becoming what are you doing?
Or I'm going to becoming I'm gonna.
Those small details make a huge difference in listening and speaking.
And the more you copy natural English, the more natural your own English becomes.
Here is another hidden habit that hurts learners.
Translating every sentence in your head.
Oh wow, that one is huge.
Many learners try to build an English sentence by first thinking in their own language,
Then translating word by word.
which takes too long.
And creates stress.
Exactly.
Real conversation moves too fast for full translation.
So what should learners do instead?
Start thinking in small English chunks.
What do you mean by chunks?
Small phrases that you can use again and again without translating.
Like, I'm not sure.
It depends.
To be honest,
That reminds me.
I don't really agree.
Can you repeat that?
Those are so useful.
And when you memorize these chunks, speaking becomes much easier because you are not building every sentence from zero.
You already have ready-made pieces.
Exactly. Think of it like Lego blocks.
You don't build the entire house from dust.
You use pieces that already exist.
That is such a good way to explain it.
Here's a quick tip for everyone watching. Instead of memorizing single words, start memorizing full phrases.
Because in real life, people do not speak one word at a time.
They speak in patterns.
For example, instead of memorizing only the word busy, memorize the phrase, I've been really busy lately.
Instead of only memorizing excited, learn I'm really excited about that.
Instead of memorizing hungry, learn I'm starving.
These little chunks make your speaking sound faster, smoother, and more natural.
And they also reduce stress because you don't need to think so much.
Another bad habit is only practicing English when you feel motivated.
That is such an important one.
Because motivation comes and goes.
Some days you feel excited.
Some days you feel tired.
Some days you want to study.
Some days you do not.
So if you only practice when you feel motivated, your progress becomes very inconsistent.
Exactly. The learners who improve the most are not always the most motivated.
They are the most consistent,
They practice even when they do not feel like it.
even if it's only 10 minutes.
Because consistency beats intensity.
That is powerful.
You do not need one perfect day of studying for 5 hours.
You need many normal days of studying for 15 minutes.
That is what creates real improvement. Let me tell you a quick story. Go ahead. A friend of mine wanted to improve her English speaking, but she kept waiting for the perfect moment. I'll start next week. I'll start when I'm less busy. I'll start when I have more energy. But that perfect moment never came. It rarely does. Then one day she made a simple rule. Every day, no matter what, she would speak English for just 5 minutes. That sounds small. Very small. But she did it every day. Even on busy days? Even on busy days. What happened? After a few months, her confidence changed completely. Not because she studied more grammar, but because she built a habit. Exactly. English became part of her daily life instead of something she only did when she felt inspired. That is such an important lesson. Because small actions repeated consistently can completely change your results. Here's another pattern interrupt. A lot of learners think they need more information. More vocabulary lists, more grammar books, more YouTube videos, more courses. But often they don't need more information. They need more implementation. Wow. Because at some point, the problem is not that you don't know enough. The problem is that you are not using what you already know. Exactly. Most learners already know more English than they think, but they don't trust themselves enough to use it. So here's a challenge for everyone watching. For the next 7 days, speak English out loud for at least 5 minutes every day. Even if you are alone, even if you make mistakes, even if you feel awkward, especially if you feel awkward, because awkward practice leads to confident speaking. And if you do this challenge, come back and tell us how it felt. We would love to hear your experience. Because once you stop hiding behind silent study, your English can grow much faster. And in the next part, we are going to share a story about someone who studied English for years but still couldn't speak, until one uncomfortable moment forced him to finally face the real test. And what happened next completely changed the way he learned forever.
Let me tell you about someone named Daniel.
Was Daniel one of those learners who knew a lot of English but could not speak?
Exactly. Daniel had been studying English for almost 8 years.
8 years?
Yes, he knew grammar rules. He had memorized hundreds of words. He could understand movies with subtitles. He could read articles online.
So on paper, his English looked pretty good.
Very good.
But there was one huge problem.
He was terrified of speaking.
That sounds familiar.
Every time someone tried to speak English with him, he panicked.
Even simple conversations?
Especially simple conversations.
Why especially simple conversations?
Because simple conversations happen fast. There is no time to prepare, no time to translate, no time to think for 10 minutes.
That is true.
One day, Daniel went to a conference for work.
And let me guess, he met someone who spoke English.
Exactly. During a break, a man from another country walked up to him and asked a very simple question.
What did he ask?
He said, "Hey, how are you finding the event so far?"
That is such a normal question.
Very normal.
So what did Daniel do?
He froze.
Completely?
Completely. His mind went blank. He understood the question, he knew the words, but he could not answer.
Wow.
After a few awkward seconds, he smiled nervously and said, "Yes."
Oh no.
Then the other person looked confused and walked away.
That must have felt terrible.
It did. Daniel said it was one of the most embarrassing moments of his life.
And honestly, I think a lot of viewers can relate to that kind of moment.
Absolutely. Maybe not the exact same situation, but many learners have experienced that feeling of understanding something but not being able to respond.
It is like your brain suddenly disconnects.
Exactly. And after that conference, Daniel had two choices.
He could continue avoiding speaking.
Or he could finally face the problem directly.
So what did he do?
He decided to stop hiding behind passive learning.
That sounds powerful.
He realized that every year he had spent studying English without speaking had created a false sense of progress.
False sense of progress?
Yes, because studying made him feel productive.
But he was not practicing the actual skill he needed.
Exactly. He was learning about English, not using English.
That is such a big difference.
So Daniel created a simple plan.
What was it?
Every single day, he would have one small conversation in English.
Every day?
Every day.
That sounds scary at first.
It was. In the beginning, he hated it.
What kind of conversations did he have?
Sometimes he talked to himself.
That's a good start.
Sometimes he recorded voice messages.
Nice.
Sometimes he used language exchange apps.
That's smart.
Sometimes he spoke with customer service workers, tourists, or online friends.
So he didn't wait for perfect opportunities.
No, he used whatever opportunities he could find.
That's important because a lot of learners think they need some perfect speaking partner.
Or a perfect course.
Or a perfect teacher.
But often, the best thing is simply to start with what you have.
Exactly.
In the beginning, Daniel still made a lot of mistakes.
Of course.
He forgot words.
He spoke slowly.
He mixed up grammar.
He repeated himself.
But something interesting started to happen.
What?
Speaking became less shocking.
That makes sense.
Because when you avoid speaking for years, every conversation feels huge.
Like a giant test.
Exactly. But when you do it every day, conversation becomes more normal.
Less dramatic.
Less scary.
Less emotional.
And that is what happened to Daniel.
He got used to the discomfort.
Exactly. He stopped expecting himself to be perfect.
And he started focusing on progress instead.
After 3 months, he noticed that he could answer simple questions much faster.
That is amazing.
After 6 months, he could hold short conversations without panicking.
Huge improvement.
And after 1 year, something happened that he never expected.
What happened?
He actually started enjoying conversations in English.
Wow.
Because speaking no longer felt like a test. It felt like a tool.
A tool for connection.
Exactly. He could meet people, share ideas, ask questions, tell stories.
And that is what language is really for.
Not just passing exams.
Not just memorizing vocabulary lists.
Not just getting high scores.
But creating real human connection.
Here's the interesting part. Daniel later said that his biggest mistake was believing he needed to feel confident before he started speaking.
But confidence came after.
Exactly. Confidence was the result, not the starting point.
That is such an important lesson.
Because so many people are waiting for confidence.
They are waiting to feel ready.
They're waiting for fear to disappear.
But maybe fear never disappears completely.
Maybe you just become stronger than the fear.
Wow.
And that is true in so many areas of life.
Not just English.
Exactly. Think about anything difficult you have ever done.
Starting a new job.
Moving to a new city.
Meeting new people.
Giving a presentation.
Going to the gym for the first time.
None of those things feel comfortable in the beginning.
But they become easier through repetition.
And English is exactly the same.
If you are watching this right now and you have been avoiding speaking because you're afraid, maybe Daniel's story is your reminder that you do not need to be perfect to start.
You only need to be willing.
Willing to make mistakes.
Willing to sound awkward.
Willing to improve slowly.
Because that is how real progress happens.
And let's be honest, 1 year from now, you can either be much more confident in English,
or you can still be waiting.
That is such a powerful choice.
Because time will pass anyway.
So why not use that time to build the skill you really want?
Here's a question for everyone watching. If you could suddenly speak English confidently tomorrow, what would you do first?
Would you travel more?
Apply for a better job?
Make international friends?
Start a YouTube channel?
Study abroad? Tell us in the comments, because your answer might remind you why this matters so much.
And in the next part, we are going to go even deeper.
We are going to talk about the psychology of speaking fear, why your brain reacts so strongly during English conversations,
and how to train yourself to stay calm, think faster, and speak with more confidence in real situations.
Because once you understand what is happening inside your mind, everything starts to make much more sense.
Let us talk about what actually happens in your brain when you try to speak English.
Because sometimes it feels like your English disappears in 1 second.
Exactly. You can know the words at home, in your room, alone.
But the moment someone looks at you and says, "So, tell me about yourself," your mind suddenly goes blank.
And that is not because you are stupid.
Not at all.
It is because your brain sees speaking English as a stressful situation.
Almost like danger.
Exactly. Your brain thinks, what if I make a mistake? What if I embarrass myself? What if people judge me?
And when your brain feels pressure, it becomes harder to think clearly.
That is why even simple questions can suddenly feel difficult.
Because stress blocks your natural thinking.
Yes, when you're calm, your brain can find words much more easily.
But when you're nervous, your brain becomes slow.
Or completely empty.
That is such a strange feeling.
Very strange. And the problem is that many learners interpret that moment in the wrong way.
They think, I forgot everything.
Or, my English is terrible.
Or, I'm not good enough.
But usually the problem is not your English level.
It's your emotional state.
Exactly. Stress changes how well you can use what you already know.
That is so important.
Think about a time when you were very nervous in your own language.
Maybe during a presentation.
Or a job interview.
Or when talking to someone you liked.
Even in your native language, stress can make you forget words.
That is true.
So imagine how much stronger that effect becomes in a second language.
That explains a lot.
Here's the good news. You can train yourself to stay calmer.
How?
First, stop treating every conversation like a life or death situation.
That's easier said than done.
True, but many learners put too much pressure on themselves.
They think every conversation must be amazing.
Every sentence must be perfect.
Every response must be fast.
But that pressure only makes things worse.
So what should people do instead?
Lower the emotional pressure.
How?
Before speaking, remind yourself, I do not need to be perfect. I only need to communicate.
That's such a simple sentence, but it changes everything.
Because your goal is not to impress people.
Your goal is to connect with people.
Exactly. And people do not expect perfection.
They just want to understand you.
Another useful trick is to slow down physically.
What do you mean?
Slow down your breathing.
That makes sense.
When people are nervous, they often breathe very fast.
And that makes the body feel even more stressed.
Exactly. So before speaking, take one slow breath.
That sounds small, but it can really help.
Very much. Because when your body becomes calmer, your mind becomes calmer too.
Here's something else I noticed. Many learners panic because they think silence is bad.
Yes, they think they must answer immediately.
But it's okay to pause for a second.
Absolutely. Native speakers pause all the time.
They say things like,
Let me think.
That's a good question.
I'm not really sure, but...
Those small phrases give you time.
And they make you sound more natural.
So instead of panicking when you need a second to think, use a simple phrase.
Exactly. Let us share a few useful ones.
Give me a second.
Let me think about that.
That's interesting.
I've never thought about that before.
How can I explain this?
These phrases are powerful because they keep the conversation moving while your brain catches up.
That is such a helpful tip.
Another thing that helps is practicing under small amounts of pressure.
Small pressure?
Yes, because if you only practice alone in perfect conditions, real conversation will still feel shocking.
So you need to slowly make practice more realistic.
Exactly. First, talk to yourself.
Then record yourself.
Then speak with one person.
Then maybe join a group conversation.
Step by step.
That way your brain learns that speaking English is safe.
And over time, the fear becomes smaller.
It's kind of like learning to drive.
That is a great example.
At first, driving feels terrifying.
Too many things happening at once.
Mirrors, roads, traffic, signs.
But after enough practice, it becomes automatic.
And English is the same.
Exactly. At first, speaking feels impossible because your brain is trying to do too many things at once.
Listen,
Translate,
remember grammar,
find vocabulary,
pronounce correctly.
stay calm.
That's a lot.
It is, but with repetition, those skills become more automatic.
Which means you can focus more on the conversation itself.
And less on fear.
Here's something really interesting. Sometimes learners think they need more courage, but often they actually
Need more evidence.
evidence?
Yes, evidence that they can survive a conversation.
That is such a good point.
Every time you speak English and nothing terrible happens, your brain learns something important.
Oh, maybe this is not so dangerous.
Exactly. Then the next conversation feels a little easier.
And the next one.
And the next one.
That's why avoiding speaking keeps fear alive.
Because your brain never gets new evidence.
It only keeps imagining the worst.
Exactly. But when you face the fear little by little, you build proof.
Proof that you can do this.
Even if it's messy.
Even if it's awkward.
Even if it's not perfect.
There's also something important about identity.
What do you mean?
Some learners keep telling themselves, I'm bad at English. Yes, I'm not confident. I always forget words. And when you repeat those sentences again and again, they become part of your identity. That is dangerous. Because if you believe you are the person who cannot speak English, then every mistake feels like proof. But maybe you need a new story. Like what? I am improving every day. I am becoming more confident. I can communicate even if I make mistakes. I do not need perfect English to have a real conversation. Those beliefs matter. Because the way you talk to yourself affects the way you perform. Exactly. If you tell yourself, I always panic, you probably will. But if you tell yourself, I might be nervous, but I can still speak, that creates a different result. That is such a powerful shift. Here's a question for everyone watching. What is one negative sentence you often say about your English? Maybe my pronunciation is bad, or I'm too shy, or I always forget words. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you replaced that sentence with something more helpful? Because your future English confidence starts with the story you tell yourself today. And in the next part, we are going to bring everything together. We are going to recap the biggest lessons from this episode and share one final challenge that could completely change your English speaking confidence over the next 30 days. So stay with us, because the next few minutes may be the push you've been waiting for.
Let us bring everything together.
Because today we talked about something that most English learners secretly know.
But do not always want to admit.
The real English test is not grammar.
It is not vocabulary.
It is not your score on an exam.
The real test is conversation.
Real conversation.
Fast conversation.
Unexpected conversation.
The kind where you cannot prepare every sentence in advance.
The kind where you have to respond in real time.
And that is exactly why so many learners avoid it.
Because it feels uncomfortable.
It feels risky.
It feels embarrassing.
But the truth is, avoiding speaking only makes the fear bigger.
Because your brain never gets proof that you can actually do it.
Exactly. Every time you avoid speaking, your fear stays alive.
But every time you speak, even badly, you build evidence.
Evidence that you can survive the conversation.
Evidence that mistakes are not the end of the world.
Evidence that people are usually more patient than you think.
Evidence that your English is probably better than you realize.
We also talked about something very important.
Confidence does not come before speaking.
Confidence comes because of speaking.
That changes everything.
Because so many people are waiting to feel ready.
But maybe you will never feel completely ready.
Maybe the real secret is starting before you feel ready.
Speaking before you feel confident.
Practicing before you feel comfortable.
And improving while you are still imperfect.
Because that is how every fluent speaker started.
Nobody begins fluent.
Nobody begins confident.
Nobody begins without mistakes.
Every strong speaker was once nervous.
Every confident speaker was once awkward.
Every fluent speaker once struggled to answer simple questions.
But they kept going.
That is the difference.
They didn't stop because speaking felt uncomfortable.
They used that discomfort as training.
And you can do the same.
So here is our final challenge for you.
For the next 30 days, speak English out loud every single day.
Even if it is only for 5 minutes.
Talk to yourself.
Record yourself.
Answer random questions.
Describe your day.
Repeat phrases from movies or podcasts.
Use shadowing.
Use simple English chunks.
Speak badly if you have to.
But speak.
Because if you do this for 30 days, something amazing will happen.
Speaking English will stop feeling like something strange.
It will start feeling more normal.
More automatic.
More familiar.
And one day you will suddenly notice that you are responding faster.
Thinking less.
Panicking less.
Enjoying conversations more.
And that's when you realize you are finally passing the real English test.
Not because you became perfect,
but because you stopped being afraid of imperfect conversations.
If you made it to the end of this episode, we want to know one thing.
What is one small speaking habit you're going to start this week?
Maybe talking to yourself.
Maybe recording your voice.
Maybe speaking with a friend.
Maybe joining a language exchange group.
Write it in the comments, because saying it out loud makes it feel real.
And if this episode helped you, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Talk Easy Daily.
Because we are here to help you become more confident, more natural, and more comfortable in English.
One conversation at a time.
And remember this.
You don't need perfect English to change your life.
You only need the courage to start speaking.
And we'll see you in the next episode of Talk Easy Daily.